மணக்க இருந்த பெரும் தமிழனே தமிழனே உன் சீரமை திறமையொன்று செயல்படாத வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே வாழ்த்ததுமே.
சத்யோரபம் சத்யபரம் த்ரிசத்யம் சத்யஸ்ய யோனிம் நிஹிதம் சத்யே சத்யஸ்ய சத்யம் ஸ்ருதசத்யநேத்ரம் சத்யாத்மகம் த்வாம் சரணம் பிரபன்னாஹ. वाणी गुणान् कथने श्रवणो कथायाम् हस्तौ च कर्मसु मनस्तव पादयोर्नः स्मृत्याम् शिरस्तव निवास जगत्प्रणामे दृष्टिस्तताम् दर्शनेषु भवत्तनूनाम् नमो भगवते तस्मै कृष्णायाद्भुतकर्मणे रूपनामविभेदेन जगत्क्रीडति यो यतः. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः.
As is our department's cherished traditions, we will begin with the Vedagosham. I invite our head of the department, Dr. S. Seshadrinathan sir, and Assistant Professor, Dr. K. B. Manigandan sir.
ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम. गणानां त्वा गणपतिं वमवे कविं कवीनामुपस्रवस्तवम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पदान शृण्वन्नोतिभिस्सीदसादनम्. ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः. गुरुर्साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. गुरवे सर्वलोकानां विषये भवरोगिणां निधये सर्वविद्यानां श्री दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. अपार करुणा सिन्धुं ज्ञानदं शान्तरूपिणं श्री चन्द्रशेखर गुरुं प्रणमामि मुदान्वकं. काञ्चीवासाय विद्महे शान्तरूपाय धीमहि तन्नो चन्द्रशेखरेन्द्र प्रचोदयात्. श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं. सत्यो जातं प्रपद्यामि सत्यो जाताय वै नमो नमः. भवे भवेनादिभवे भव स्वमां भवोद्भवाय नमः. वामदेवाय नमो ज्येष्ठाय नमः. श्रेष्ठाय नमो रुद्राय नमः. कालाय नमः. कलविकरणाय नमो बलविकरणाय नमो बलाय नमो बलप्रमदनाय नमः. सर्वभूतदमनाय नमो मनोन्मनाय नमः. अघोरेभ्यो तघोरेभ्यो घोरघोरधरेभ्यः सर्वेभ्यः सर्वसर्वेभ्यो नमस्ते अस्तु रुद्ररूपेभ्यः. तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे महादेवाय धीमहि तन्नो रुद्र प्रचोदयात्. ईशान सर्वविद्यानाम् ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे सदा शिवो. नमो हिरण्यभागवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपदये अम्बिकापदये उमापदये पशुपतये नमो नमः. नमस्ते अस्तु भगवान् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकाल कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः. श्रीराम राम रामेति रमे रामे मनोरमे सहस्रनाम तत्तुल्यं रामनामोरानने. वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं. कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः. गोविन्द गोविन्द हरे मुरारे गोविन्द गोविन्द मुकुन्द कृष्ण. கருவாய் உயிராய் கதியாய் விதியாய் குருவாய் வருவாய் அருள்வாய் தனம் தரும் கலை தரும்
குருநாதன் தரவரியா மனம் தரும்
தெய்வ வடிவம் தரும் நெஞ்சில் பஞ்சமில்லாயிரம் தரும் நல்ல எல்லாம் தரும் பெரும்பவர் கணம் தரும் பூங்குழால பிராமி கிடைக்கின்ற புத்தேர் பலமி சோதேரியம் தூரோகதா அஜாக்கியம் கொடுக்கும் ஜன்ம ஸ்மரணாத் கோபிகா ஜீவன ஸ்மரணம் கோவிந்தா கோவிந்த் ஜானகி காந்த ஸ்மரணம்
ராம ராம
ஹர ஹர நம பார்வதி பதையே
ஹர மகாதேவ
சத்குருநாத் மகாராஜ் की
ஜெய்
जय சொல்லுப்பா सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की
ஜெய்
आंजनेय मूर्ति की
ஜெய்
भारत माता की
ஜெய்
भारत माता की
ஜெய்
भारत माता की
ஜெய்
Thank you, sir. To formally mark the beginning of this national colloquium, it is with great respect and warmth that we invite the guiding force of our department, someone who has always encouraged curiosity, discipline and academic excellence, our esteemed head of the department,
साधनम ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो जय श्री कृष्णा गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन मोस्ट रेस्पेक्टेड रिसोर्स पर्सन ऑफ द डे मिस्टर चंदू नायर come on give a big round of applause he is our alumnus DG Vaishnav alumnus IIM Ahmedabad visiting faculty IIM Kozhikode IIM Indore there is a saying in Tamil kuttupatalum modar kaiyala kuttupadanum fittest person for the inaugural function is Mr. Chandu Nayak. We are extremely happy to have in our midst Mr. Chandu Nayak, my colleagues Dr. Satish, Dr. Hardayal Sharma, Dr. Pradeepa George, other colleagues, students from other colleges, research scholars, our own research scholars, other college students, others. I am extremely happy and delighted to be part of this colloquium, today's program. Vaishnav BCom General, we do certain things differently. Every year, all departments will be doing conference. Most of the students will be presenting papers. Original papers, handful. Most of the students make use of the chat GPT, cut, copy, paste, they do. Therefore, this year, we want to do in a different way. You need to enrich your knowledge. Nothing is power in this world. Knowledge. That too, applied knowledge. What we teach in the college, we teachers, we can teach only from the book. Here are the people who are from the industry. What is the expectation of the industry from the students? They are the people to guide you properly. That is the reason 75% of the sessions are industry oriented. My dear students, 2 days program, physical presence, mental presence, both are important. What for we are organizing this sort of colloquium? It is not going to benefit us, it is going to benefit you. You should realize the responsibility. Every session you are going to have the question answer session. We will be extremely happy if you are going to come out with questions. See, always in life, take best people as role models. Swami Vivekananda, how he motivated youngsters. Arise, awake, stop not till the goal is reached. Therefore, you have to set a goal. See our resource person today. After Vaishnav has joined IIM, that means what sort of hard work he might have done. In those days, we did not have more number of IIMs. We had only 4 IIMs. ABCL, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, Calcutta and Lucknow. Later on only Kozhikode Indore came. Now we have got around 25. In those IIMs he has studied. In those days, fees also, I think very, very less. Mr. Chandana will agree. Now they charge 25 lakhs. He might have paid around 7,500 or so. Right, sir? 2 years MBA has costed him only 15,000 rupees those days. Why the government has increased now? Many, after getting the benefit from the IIM, not sticking onto our country, they go abroad, serving for someone in fact. That is the reason they have increased, government has increased. Therefore, he got into IIM. The reason behind that, he had a focus. You need to have a goal. You need to have a determination. That he had, that is why he could able to get into. My dear students, you should also need to have a focus, in fact. See, Cup of tea is different from one to one, individual to individual. You can choose. Choose the career. Give your best. Take Dr. Abdul Kalam as your role model, in fact. And the best people. And now you can take our Prime Minister. Don't take anyone. Very ordinary background. From ordinary background, he has taken our country to greater heights, in fact. See, other countrymen, you know what is happening in the international arena. Iran, Iraq, so many countries, Libya, facing so many problems. We are all really blessed. There is a sloka in Sanskrit, before writing the horoscope, Janani Janma Saukyanam Padavi Purva Punyanam. We are all really doing some Purva Punya. That is why we are born in this great country, and Tamil Nadu, such a wonderful state. And organizing the program, in fact, nothing will move around without Gurunathal's grace, I'll tell you. Guruho Anugrahena Eva Puman Purna Prashante Guru Arulille, Thiruvarulille, both spiritual Guru and teaching Guru. Here I would like to recall such a wonderful teachers, myself and Chandunayar, and another person, 1968 batch, please. 1968-71 batch has come, in fact. What sort of interest it shows. Professor K. Nagarajan, Bhishma Pitamaga of the Commerce Department. We were fortunate enough to study under him. Professor N. Krishnamurthy, Professor B. Santanam, Professor N. S. Natarajan, Professor K. Sampath. All these people, they have done, they boiled, they toiled, their hard work. In those days, they did not have this sort of facility. Mr. Chandana definitely will agree with me. He was very happy by seeing the auditorium. In those days, no, only class, chalk talk, that's it. But you are all fortunate, in fact. Lot of advancements. Country has got independence after 77 years. Republic Day we had. College also 62 years college and 57 years department. In Chennai city, I can say, entire Tamil Nadu is the only department having 3 sections aided. Therefore, we are all really fortunate. Therefore, my dear students, make use of the opportunity. Opportunity is knocking at your door. You should grab it. If you miss, it will be a costly miss. See, when the registration started, Vijayanaran was really asking me, sir, only 5 people have registered, 10 people. I said, don't worry. As soon as we have printed the brochure, we took the brochure to Kanchipuram. Gurunatha avada paadathil vechittu anike sonna oho nadakumpa nee kavalapadaade, don't worry. Now we have got registration to the extent of 150 registration, and hats off to MOP college, STMB Vaishnav, St. Thomas, all colleges, many have registered, in fact. See, there is a saying in Tamil, yam petra inbam perigavai vaiyagam. We should not confine ourselves only with Vaishnav. Other college students also we have to invite. Then only questions will be asked by them, in fact. If you are going to ask questions, they'll also feel happy. If you are going to ask a question to the teacher, எனக்கு தெரிய answer தெரியாம கூட இருக்கலாம். But it is not so with them because they are rich experience. Take the case of Infosys chairman, Narayana Murthy, Wipro, Azim Premji, CTS, Lakshmi Narayan. Wherever they go and address, IIT, IIM, where college, they don't talk even a word from the book. They share their experience. That is the thing he is going to do, Mr. Chandanaya. He is going to share his experience. Person, visiting faculty, 2 IIMs. Not only that, expert in media, expert in research, expert in information services. Big businessman. Those who are interested in starting the business, entrepreneur, anyone is having an idea to start entrepreneurship, catch hold of Mr. Chandanaya. He is into that line for the past 2.5 decades. Person with more than 3 decades of experience. Therefore, I can continue, talk together, because I'll be grabbing his time, in fact. I'm delighted. I don't have words to express my happiness. 2 days, don't go to the auditorium. Learn as much as possible. I wish the 2 days colloquium all success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for setting the tone for today's academic deliberations. Research grounded in integrity, refined through iteration, and aimed at impact has the power to transform both academia and society. To elaborate on the theme of this colloquium, I now invite Dr. Haridel Sharma sir, organizing secretary, whose perspectives align with today's discussions, to speak on integrity, iteration, and impact, pillars of transformative research practices.
Jai Shri Krishna. revered chief guest of the day, Shri Chandu Nayarji, a respected HOD, my dear colleagues, of course, experts from other domains, and dear students. It really gives me immense pleasure in just introducing the concept of today's or our two-day colloquium. Title is Integrity, Iteration and Impact, Pillars of Transformative Research Practices. Just a brief background. Innovation is the key in today's world. Scenario or things, environment is changing very fast. So no more we can depend on the old methods of research. So that's why I thought transformative research. Now, three basic, as the topic itself tells, three basic aspects of transformative research is integrity, iteration, and impact. Just a few sentences about that, and then we'll move forward. Integrity, definitely very much essential. The quantity is growing, but whether the quality is really moving or keeping pace with that, that is the question mark. The other day I was seeing that Retraction Watch, there is a website, if you see, papers are published, but at the same speed, even the papers are being retracted. So integrity is must, whether it is the research methods, whether it is the sampling process, whether it is the interpretation of data, or whether it is publishing. So we need to keep track of that, and I was really taken aback. There were certain universities that were in the blacklist, and many of the universities were from Tamil Nadu. I don't want to take name of those universities, and it was a shocking thing for us. So if we want to move on, as our Prime Minister said, Viksit Bharat, or 2047 will be a developed economy, or make in India process, we need to concentrate on these aspects. Number two, iteration. What we are trying to say when we say iteration, we need to refine, constantly collect the feedback where we have gone wrong, and accordingly we need to change our perspective of doing research. So first one is integrity, second one iteration, and third one is impact. No more the research can be done in silos, right? The other day, I remember some 15 years back, I got a research project. I told my guru, sir, I got research. He said, what is the point? It will be biting, the dust in some, library, something. So what is the impact? What is the, how practically it is applicable? So impact is very critical if you really want to move forward in the domain of research, right? Impact, practical application. Sir always tells, knowledge is not power, applied knowledge is power. So application part, we need to concentrate, no more theoretical. We can develop certain theories, but is it really practicable in, the real sense? So that was the base. So when we transform, these three things, research is critical, and these three things are, essential for that research. So keeping in mind, we thought we can have a combination of academia and industry. So as sir said, nearly 70% of the speakers or resource people are from industry, and remaining 30% from academia, right? So accordingly, we have decided the topics of discussion. For example, today, Sir Kasilingam sir, I welcome you. Sir will be talking about from notes to new knowledge, designing a culture of research on campus. Very, very important. As I said, we are living in silos. Academy is different, industry is different. No more. We need to integrate. So sir will be throwing some light. Then another topic he will be talking about, number games, application of statistics for an effective research. Next, we will have a panel session, afternoon session. The topic is AI in research, promise, peril, and the search for balance, right? Then tomorrow we have another session on turning chaos into clarity, how statistics guide every good research question. Then we have another session, beyond publish or perish, can quality survive the number race? Then we have another topic, co-creating knowledge, industry, academia collaboration for effective research, followed by the last session where we'll be talking about the obstacles faced in the commerce research, followed by ultimate, the philosophical question, why doctor of philosophy? Ultimately, why do we do? What is the purpose of research? I hope it will be a academic feast. So try to take advantage, as sir said, interact with the experts, and I hope you will really enjoy the stay, here in our college. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. At this significant moment of our inaugural session, we take the opportunity to formally honor our distinguished chief guest, Mr. Chandru Nair, sir. Felicitation is not merely a ceremonial gesture, but a mark of respect and recognition for academic excellence, leadership, and meaningful contribution to this field. I now
Now I request Advisor of Postgraduate Department of Commerce Shift 2, Dr. Pratibha George ma'am, to say a few words.
Yeah, good morning. And I have no doubt that these 2 days are going to be an excellent days, and I think you will be able to learn more. And I congratulate the organizers, and thank you so much for inviting me. I'm also part of the day college, but on behalf of the PG Department of Commerce Shift 2, I congratulate and I wish all success for this 2 days program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. To present a brief academic profile of the eminent personality we are honored to have with us today, I invite Ms. Meenu Rekha, research scholar, to kindly introduce the chief guest.
Jai Shri Krishna, a very good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of the college and PG Research Department of Commerce, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all. We are truly privileged to have with us a distinguished professional whose career seamlessly bridges industry, entrepreneurship, investment, and academic engagement. Our guest and resource person for the inaugural session today, Mr. Chandru Nair, is an angel investor, startup advisor, who has worked closely with the entrepreneurs, enterprises in building, scaling, and sustaining businesses. He brings with him hands-on experiences in angel investing, venture capital, and strategic investment, and has been a part of multiple successful business units. Mr. Chandru Nair has over 3 decades of rich professional experiences spanning industry, market research, and consultancy, media and information services. He began his corporate journey with reputed organizations such as Asia Paints and Business World magazine, gaining deep insights into the market and business dynamics. Subsequently, he ventured into entrepreneurship and has been an entrepreneur for more than 25 years, during which he founded several businesses and successfully exited 2 of them, including Scope E Knowledge Center. In addition to his entrepreneurial pursuits, Mr. Chandru Nair plays a significant role in the investment and governance ecosystem. He serves on the advisory board of Chennai-based private equity firm and a social impact fund, and is an independent director on the board of CIEL HR Services Limited. He was also associated until recently with the board of Shankara Building Products Limited, which is India's first organized retail building materials company. He is actively involved in nurturing the startup ecosystem through his engagement with the Chennai Angels, IIM Kozhikode Live Incubator, Crescent Innovation and Incubation Council, and IIT Madras Research Park, among others. Mr. Chandru Nair is also a thought leader and regularly contributes articles on business startups and entrepreneurship to the leading platforms such as Money Control and Business Line. Academically, sir, being an alumnus of GDVC and as a postgraduate in management from the prestigious Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, and currently serves as a visiting faculty at institutions including IIM Kozhikode and IIM Indore, sharing his industry-driven insights with future managers and researchers with his remarkable blend of practical experience, investment expertise, and academic engagement. Mr. Chandu Nair is exceptionally the well-suited person to address today's research colloquium. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in giving a warm round of applause in welcoming our honorable guest of resource person, Chandu Nair. We welcome you, sir.
PowerPoint will come, right? Okay, so good morning everyone. Very nice to be here back on campus after many years. There are a few big changes I see. When I came here, there was a lot of open space, very little buildings. But like I was telling Professor Pradeepa George, the biggest difference is the fact that time there were no girls. It was a totally boys' college. So today, apart from Vaishnav, I also have Vaishnavi. So in the college, so which is a very happy thing, I think, for a lot of the boys and for the girls as well. So anyway, I'm very happy to be here, and thanks to Professor Seshadrinathan for calling me here to address all of you. Thanks are also due to Mr. Haridayal, Dr. Haridayal Sharma, apart from Dr. Seshadrinathan, and the rest of the organizing committee. Now, I will speak more from a practitioner's point of view, but I will also bring some academic flavor because I also teach. And I feel a lot of what is happening today in academic institutions is, in one word, rubbish. So I'm going to be a little provocative today. I will try to make some of you students also feel a little more engaged because I see 80% of the audience is actually students. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I first thought that my structure of presentation will be like this. I will give one or two surprising facts. Okay. I'll give one or two surprising facts about, sorry. This one, no? I'll give a surprising facts about what is happening on research. I'll try to tie it in with what's happening with you. I will give some problems and issues in research, biases in research, give you some practical examples. Most importantly, I'll tell you about our Indian attitude and approach and what is the problem with all of you, including me. Okay? The deep problem that we have with respect to data, knowledge, information, research. Then I'll talk about how we can do something about it, including in Vaishnav College or in your college. I'll therefore give you a framework, then I'll sum up. But depending on audience reaction, how much I cover each subject might change. Okay? So for example, somebody talked about the fact that there is a lot of information, there are a lot of data today available, there are a lot of words. One word is data, the second word is information, the third word is knowledge, the fourth word is research, the fifth word is wisdom. Okay, now for many people there is no difference between all of these. So first thing is to understand the difference between these words. Okay, the way I like to look at it is, being an entrepreneur myself, and everywhere I must say that having studied in a supposedly linguistic minority institution, but actually very money-minded community. And then having worked in a Gujarati company like Asian Paints, okay, most money-minded kind of community again. One of the interesting thing about Asian Paints, a lot of people don't know in this room, is that Asian Paints is the highest compounding stock in the history of India's stock market. It is a completely 100% Indian company. When I joined the company, it was very small. It was when I joined the company 2 years later that it touched 100 crores. It took 42 years for the company to go from 0 to 100. But it took 3 years for the company to become 200 crores. That is the power of scaling, and that's the power of the Gujarati mercantile mindset. Okay, now why I'm talking about this is I was talking about data, information, knowledge, research and wisdom. And being an entrepreneur, thanks to the Gujarati exposure I had, Apart from Asian Paints was nice enough, apart from Calcutta, very Marwadi dominated city in terms of business, they threw me to Surat. Surat is one of India's richest cities, tremendously wealthy. Everybody there doesn't have one income. They have two, if not three incomes. So when I went there and I was very motivated by how they were doing things, that's how I myself got inspired and got into business, thanks to that exposure in Surat. It was that time a filthy rich city. It was rich, it was also filthy. Okay, and it was filthy rich. Now why I said about data, information, research, knowledge, wisdom, what is a tomato? A tomato is a fruit. That is information, that is knowledge. What is wisdom? Not putting tomato into fruit salad. Anybody puts tomato in fruit salad? No, they put it in vegetable salad, though it is a fruit. Okay, still this wisdom is not good enough. What is real entrepreneurship is making tomato juice out of this tomato. And what is scaling up entrepreneurship? Making it much more valuable by putting it in vodka and saying it's Bloody Mary. That is what I am. I take that information, I take that knowledge, I use that wisdom, but then I convert it into a business opportunity. This is what I want to talk about today when we talk about transformation in research, because first of all in India we don't do research in the first place. Forget about transformation. Okay, true research we don't do. We do copycat research. We do bunkum research 95% of the time. That's what we do, okay? And okay, so I told you I'll be provocative, I will use colloquial language. I might even use some funny expressions, so please pardon me. I teach like this in IIMs, I talk like this in conferences, I write like this in money control. I've written 101 columns in 3.5 years in money control. So pardon me if I'm a little blunt. Yeah, sorry. I wanted to show you this. What is common between Savita? Dr. Haridayal Sharma was very nice. He said, I will not name any colleges here. I'm going to name. I'm going to put what is common between Savita Institute of Medical Sciences, Medical and Technical Sciences, ranked 351 to 400, World University rankings. Jamia Millia Islamia, ranked 400 to 500. Shulini Institute of Biotechnology and Management. Never knew there was such a place. And Banaras Hindu University, 501 to 600, plus Oxford, Cambridge, Yale. You know Oxford, Cambridge, Yale University, no? By the way, Yale University, the gentleman Yale came from Chennai and went off to make money here and then went to USA and set up Yale University. So please understand the old connection between Chennai and Yale University. What is common? Very interesting connection, okay? The connection is all of them posted research quality scores, which are the same. Can you imagine these 4 institutes have research quality score which is the same as the top Oxford, Yale and Cambridge, number 1. Number 2, they are even better than many IITs and IISc Bangalore. Now you will say, how on earth is it possible? Namba mudiyuma? Can I believe this number? So that's where the first doubt comes. Anybody here believes these numbers? Okay, I'm asking. If you really feel, yes, our fellows in Chennai, fellows in Banaras, etc. are doing such fantastic research, they are better than Oxford, Cambridge, please raise your hand and we shall have a healthy discussion. Okay. Now the research quality of Savita, for example, is 93.4. Graphic Era University is 92. Oxford is 97.7. Cambridge is 97.1. Yale is 97.2. It is much higher than IISc Bangalore, 51.2. IIT Patna at 70.4. I'm giving these numbers because you need data. That is the foundation. Like if you are in accounting, what is the foundational document? Invoice. Okay, everything starts from the invoice. If you don't get the invoice right, everything after that is junk. Okay, if you don't get the invoice right, everything after, and Professor Pradeepa George will tell you, being law teacher, that if the invoice is not written properly, you don't put PTO, you don't put E and OE, contractually you are in trouble. Okay, small letter E and OE. OE is not over-enthusiastic patani. Errors and omissions accepted, okay, that's what it is. And PTOs, please turn over because the terms and conditions will be at the back. She'll tell you about the famous laundry case. If you don't put PTO, if you don't put that, you can still be in trouble. You're liable as a laundry company. It is the details that kill you. Now, why this is happening is there is something called research quality, but there is something called research environment. Okay. Now you will find this is where the funny thing happens. Now if you take Oxford, the research environment is 100. Research quality is 97.7, very small difference. 2.3, okay, very marginal difference. Savita Institute, ISC score 56.9 and 51.2, whereas Savita Institute is 18.4 research environment, but research quality 93.4. That is, I am giving you outstanding food from a dirty kitchen. Possible? Okay, just think about it. Okay, I am giving you terrific. Then, similarly, Graphic Ura University, research environment 22.2 and research quality 92. Such a huge difference. Just think about it, ladies and gentlemen, okay? What does it mean? It means people are playing with the system. They are gaming the system as we call it. Okay, and you can game any system. Ask me. I was never a topper. I'll talk to you about my Vaishnav college experience. I never was a topper in class. There were some 15, 20 fellows always better than me in class. Every subject. Only subject I was topper was very surprising. Being a Malayali fellow, being a non-Brahmin, being supposedly nothing to do with anything, I was a topper in Sanskrit. Even today you ask me, sir was doing some part of the Rudram Namakam, ask me to chant the Rudram Namakam, I can do it in 15 minutes or less. Very nicely, very clearly, without any problem. At one time I knew most of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. Today I can't remember most of it. So I was very surprisingly the topper in Sanskrit. I was also the captain of the badminton team. I was also an under officer in NCC. I was also going to cultural events for Vaishnav College. Plus I also studied. It is like Tata Steel says, in their advertisement, we also make steel. So for me, Vaishnav College was a place where I also studied. What I'm trying to say is, actually, you don't have to be just a padips to get into IIMA. Most of the fellows who get into IIMA, IIMC, etc., many of them have multiple interests. In fact, it is the person who has better interests, who is more well-rounded, who can do better than the person who is only academically oriented. I can tell you that very, very clearly. So this is the problem. All of us in India, particularly, we are used to taking shortcuts. We are encouraged to take shortcuts, and that's the problem I'm going to first talk about. Our mentality, if I'm in the traffic light, I'll give you the example of traffic because that's the easy to understand subject. For us, if there is a red light, it is not any indication to stop. We'll first see if there is policeman or not. Policeman is not there, let us go. Orange means what is this? We should completely go. Green, what are you waiting for? Why are you wasting your time there? So, even a child realizes very quickly that a no from a parent is not a no. It is a maybe. A maybe is a yes. And yes means total license, not even freedom. Total license to do any nonsense. Today, child will not eat his food if he doesn't have, what is this called? Mobile phone. Okay. Have you seen many children cannot eat if mother doesn't put mobile phone? Make noise, no? I've seen horrible fellows, they will not eat. You feel like you went back. Even on the plane they don't eat. Even on the train they don't eat. Why? Because we are stupid fellows who don't have discipline. Simple word called discipline and simple word called not wanting to flout and follow the rules of some sort, because the rules are what helps us in many cases, okay? This is the problem, and this is why research is rubbish in India, okay? I'm using the word deliberately because I want to set a tone that if you want to change, It's the change in between our ears. It's the mind which has to change first, okay? So shame and scandal in research, luckily for us, it is not India alone who's got a problem. Pah. Okay, we feel little better. Not only am I bad, but other fellows also bad. Okay, like Bible says, forgive me for I have sinned. Oh, but he has sinned more. So, I'm just being very light, okay. If give me 3 Hail Marys, give him 10 Hail Marys. Okay, so, Pradeepa George, I'm just taking it very lightly, okay. The problems in research are multifold, okay. I will go one by one very quickly. First is, this new system they call NAC, NRF, this, that, etc. has actually created one new kind of problem. Fellows are simply publishing papers, copycat research. There are places, they just publish some nonsense research. I've seen some of those papers. I really find it very difficult to get past the first 2 pages itself. And if you go to any other place where you see the research gate, you go to others, you see the abstract itself, it is nonsense. As soon as you see the abstract, the researcher has spent no time identifying the problem. And I'm telling you, all of you people, even in BCom, even after 3 years, you asked me to do trial balance, I could not, my trial balance would never balance. Okay, very tough, very difficult. Because why? I wasn't listening properly enough in class and I wasn't applying it correctly. What I used to do, I was a very good guy at gaming the system. What Chandu Nair did at that time was, instead of studying so much, I said, I won't waste my time. I took past 20 years question papers. I found which questions are repeating very often in multiple choice, in section 1, section 2, section 3, then I found these compare contrast comes. Then I realized that, many of the people who are reading the examiners are not reading the answers correctly. They only see highlights. So I used 3 different pens, okay, with different colors. I put certain data points, some tables I used to have. Irrespective of the question, those tables will come with data. Data was correct. But just to show the fellow as if I know the answer. So 80% of my studies was based like this. This is gaming the system. It is not really studying. So you ask me, finally, what are the 3 golden rules of accounting? Tuck, I will tell. But how to apply those 3 golden rules? I don't know. Okay. That's the problem. I'm saying this is the issue. So first thing is, this nonsense. You can actually buy research, okay? I can tell you people in Chandigarh, in many other places, I'll give you places where you can buy a research paper off the shelf. You can finish your PhD in less than 2 weeks with the entire thing done. There are paper mills today. And this is the kind of junk that's happening, okay? And the other thing what Haridayal ji talked about, retraction. 1 in 7 research publications is fake. Biggest problem. First one, integrity, ambos. Okay. The second problem, there is something called peer review. So, just to tell you what is peer review, Haridayal ji writes a paper. Kashilingam sir from Pondicherry University says, Haridayal ji, I will cite your paper. Okay. Then Kashilingam will put one thing saying this paper is this. Then Pradeepa George will say, this paper of Kashilingam is very good. Then what happened? Become like a snake. Haridayal writes something, Kashilingam says, oh, good. Pradeepa George says, excellent. Then the Sheshadrinathan says, fantastic. Then become a full circle. Same Johnnies keep repeating each other, but because citations increase, the whole numbers game increases. What happens? Basically, you are doing chakki piecing, but no atta coming. Your citation index, everything will improve, but no output which is meaningful. Okay, this is the second problem. Big problem. It is happening. I can see people in the front 2-3 rows are nodding because they experience it. You are still not experienced it. But anytime you are getting WhatsApp forward, no? Ask this big question, GUT. Number 1, is it good? Okay, number 1, is it good? Does it feel nice if I forward it? Number 2, is it useful? And number 3, is it true? 90% plus of WhatsApp forwards are not true. I am a fact checker. I keep checking facts all the time. My uncles, my aunties, my cousins, my friends, they send junk forwards. I keep telling them this is nonsense. Okay. Same thing happens in research also. Not 90%, but it is bad. I can tell you that. And what he said, slow retraction. This is what I said, octopus. They call it octopus because ittigali, big 8 things. Each of them will talk to each other. Okay, this is a regular phenomenon. Third pin is ethical and scientific, the third thing is ethical and scientific risks. When I used to do market research, we used to have fellows in Cochin to do the market research. I also did for 3 years, I did the consumer price index and the wholesale price index for the labor bureau in Simla. So all over India I did the study to arrive at the CPI and the WPI, on basis of which we come to the inflation numbers in the budget and all those things. So we did it for 3 years, sitting out of Chennai, we did it all over India. We had a set of fellows who are specialists in what we call under the lamppost research. They will never go to the field and talk to people. They will sit under the lamppost in the evening. One side la a quarter, maybe one biryani also, and they will fill the questionnaire themselves. Today I am Mary, next one I am Devika, third one I am something else, and they'll put correct address, everything, but fraud data. Okay, this happens. So many times when you are seeing numbers, ask yourself, how have you validated those numbers? That is a big thing, okay? So this is the other problem that you have. Today with AI, I myself won't know whether I said something. As it is, my wife asked me, did you say that? You said that day. Ladies always tell that you said it that day. I can't remember what I said even 1 hour back. Ladies will tell you what you told 20 years ago. Very correctly they will try to tell you this is what you correctly said. That time I was wearing this purple sari with this jimki. Oh, when they give that kind of detail, you are gone. Correct? So with AI, it is even worse. Probably even Donald Trump won't know what he spoke. Because, what he says probably on AI is more sensible than what he says in real life. We don't know that, but I'm just joking. I may have to go to US again. I have valid visa. And the fourth thing is regional and institutional factors. Do you know, like for example, for some time Hyderabad was blacklisted by the government of USA, the universities, for visas, because so much of degree fraud was happening. Same thing is happening here. India is one of the bad places for research, along with China, Ethiopia, Pakistan. India is not seen as a very good place, okay? Number two, we don't have proper mechanism. Like if you talk to people in government, very correctly they will say, if you do something, you are more likely to be in trouble than if you do nothing. If you do nothing, you are less likely to be in trouble than if you do something in government. In fact, many officers are trained by their seniors, if you want to have a no problem career of 35 years, take no decision. If you take a decision only, it will come back tomorrow to bite you. Okay, so this is the problem, that we do not have any mechanism for accountability to verify. This is the problem, okay? What happens? It damages reputations. There's a lot of financial loss, there's a lot of delays, and there's also, it influences outcomes. I'll give you some specific examples, how it happens. But before that, I just want to tell you about some biases. And here I'm going to talk about how it happens in India. Now, there is something called paid and sponsored research. I am a Malayali, as I told you before. One of the oils we use very regularly, Malayali, is what oil? Coconut. Okay, not only in our head, but even in our food. So many fellows, when they have the poriyal in Kerala, or even from a Malayali restaurant here, they say, like how we have mustard oil in North Indian cooking, and the Bengalis put mustard oil in the fish. We can't smell what bad. Same problem here. Palm oil lobby came. They said coconut oil is very bad, very terrible. Actually, palm oil was worse. One thing I learned in life is, in order for you to look good, you don't have to do anything good. Just make the other fellow look bad. Very interesting, okay? For you to look good, make the other fellow look bad. That's all. Same thing happens in research. There are a lot of paid research like this. Okay, palm oil fellows came killed. Why? Because he who pays the piper calls the tune. There is an old saying, no? You know the Pied Piper story, na? With all the rats, everything. Same story here in research. Similarly, many times the conclusion is first arrived at. Then they force fit the data to justify that conclusion. That is what happens in most research. I am also guilty of it, having done market research. Client will come and say, you know, it is like chartered accountant. They call 3 chartered accountants. One American chartered accountant, British chartered accountant, finally 3rd chartered accountant, Indian. They called one American company. And the fellow comes and says, look, we have this problem. Our data is not happening properly. We have this audit tomorrow and we need this thing to be all cleaned up. American looks at it and says, no, it's not possible, sir. And then the British guy says, oh, I don't think, old chap, you know, I don't think we can do it. So then the Indian comes and he says, what do you want the number to be? Correct? So, what conclusions do you want the data? That's the key question, okay? So anything can be done in today's world. The second problem that you have is a cultural issue. Have you seen the world map? You have seen the world map, correct? Have you seen that Europe looks one size and Africa looks so tiny? It is not, it is very funny. Actually, Europe is not that big and Africa is much bigger. But because the European white man does not want to be seen as small, he has made Europe look bigger and Africa look smaller. That is called the Mercator map. The same white man Eurocentric view is today influencing even research. We feel if we do original research, it's only a rare Ramanujam who can stand up and say, you know, to a Hardy that I did my work, my mathematical model is sound. 99.999% of us will not believe our own brown guy, we will believe a white fellow. Yes or no? Yes or no? That's the problem. We still do not have that self-respect, that maryada, the Suya maryada, you know, whatever we say, social justice, etc., nonsense. We still don't have it when it comes to foundations of research. We don't have it. Let's be very blunt about it, okay? That's why if you look at it, even we cannot do religious studies in India without having a problem. Everything gets politicized. And if I take management, a subject I'm telling you, we don't follow Indian ethos. We follow still Western-oriented management principles, which don't work in India. We follow Western-oriented management principles, which do not work in India across the board. And I will give you examples if you want. Anybody getting bored? Okay. I will now do a small bio break. How many of you want to do, not bio break, one general break. This is what we call like Nagaichuai track type of thing. Okay. How many of you have want to become businessmen, entrepreneurs? How many? How many here want to become businessmen, entrepreneurs? Start your own business. Okay, here one, only 2, 3, only very few, very bad. Really, only 5 or 6 of you, nobody else wants to start? How many of you want to take job? Private sector job? Nobody. How many of you want to become housewife? How many of you want to become politician? Appa, I got some 4 or 5 fellows. How many of you want to become IAS, etc., bureaucrat? 1 or 2 fellows. Okay. Chartered accountant, anybody? Appa, quite a few. Okay. Why I wanted to do that was, you know, I do this game sometimes. Okay. I show this 100 rupees. Okay. To the audience. And I say, who wants this 100 rupees? 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 Okay. Now, very good. I'm very happy at least 3 came. Normally, what I find, thank you, keep it. So, why I did this game, I'm telling you, this is important even for us in any aspect of life. Many of us, I ask people, who wants this money? Okay, and actually, if they didn't succeed with 500, I would have done 500. Because my purse is elsewhere. Why I did this was, many times when I do this, who wants, so many fellows will put their hand. But nobody takes action. Nobody gets up and says, I want it that much that I'm willing to get up and go for it. So the simple lesson I want to teach you is nobody except your mother will come to where you are sitting and put food in your mouth. Somebody talked about opportunities knocking at the door, Professor Sheshadri Nathan. Today, opportunity is knocking at the door all the time. But what is happening to most of us, including me? I have earphone, okay, I'm sitting like this, and I'm sitting in an AC room, in my bedroom. The bedroom door is closed, outside is drawing room, then only comes the main door. Opportunity is knocking at the main door, but I'm sitting inside the bedroom listening to nothing but nonsense. Or I'm scrolling at nonsense TikTok or Instagram or whatever reels. Useless fellows we are. Useless, okay? And I'm giving you this because this is feeding into our cultural bias. It is also feeding into how we do research. It is because of the same culture, okay? So when you say cognitive bias, that's why I wanted to show you. That's why I put this 100 rupee game. Cognitive bias, how you see things, how you recognize things, okay? That's what I'm saying. Limited exposure and thinking. Many of us do not know life beyond Vaishnav College. We do not know life beyond Arumbakam to Annanagar or Arumbakam to Nungambakam. I used to cycle every day from Nungambakam to come to college. So, very limited life, we have very limited exposure. I went to IIM, I'll just give you an example, okay? I went there, luckily I was not a topper. I go there to IIM Ahmedabad, 80% of the fellows are college, university, IIT, etc. toppers. In fact, my batch topper, he was JEE topper, he was CBSE topper, and he was also IIT Delhi topper. Now what happened, there was one subject we had called written analysis and communication. This fellow was used to being topper right through his life, unlike me, who never topper. One subject called written analysis and communication, for the first time in his life he got C grade in one paper only. He didn't eat lunch. He was feeling so bad. And with great difficulty we managed to give him dinner. Okay, why? Because in his mind, he could never accept first that, there is somebody better than me. Because somebody like me got A, whereas he got C. So imagine, cognitive bias, I'm school topper, I'm college topper, I'm all India topper, but I'm getting C here. He can't believe it, right? That's cognition bias, that somebody can be better than you. So in IIM, one of the things it teaches you is actually a lot of humility, because there are so many people better than you in something or the other. My next door neighbor, I still remember him, he teaches even now, Trilochan Shastri. I've never seen Trilochan Shastri study. IIT Delhi fellow, never studied. He'll play veena, toing, 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 at 2 o'clock in the night. Fellow didn't learn commerce. He used to just come listen to all of us talking about how we should do group study. He'll come listen to us. In the test, he will do better than us. In first year, without studying, the fellow he was class number 6 here. Brilliant fellow. You cannot touch somebody like that because he is God-given. My senior batch had a gentleman called Professor Verma, Deputy Governor of RBI. He became subsequently. Professor J.R. Verma, again Malayali fellow, royal family chap. He was called Bread Verma. Okay, why I'll tell you? Because every morning you went to the breakfast table, he'll have some 15-20 slices of bread, 2 omelets. He will read a book. I'm not joking, okay? I've never seen anybody like that. He'll take a book, not fiction book, non-fiction, very complicated book. He'll be reading like this. After that you ask him, JR, what is that book about? Not only will he tell you what all is there in that book, he will tell you what is wrong with that book. Imagine you are going to compete with such fellows. What chance you have? Nothing. What you can do? You can only be your best, because you cannot beat them. They are too good. They are just God-given. You cannot fight those fellows. There are some incredible fellows like this, okay? So that's part of the cognition bias. And there is a lot of nonsense today happening. I will not go into too much details because I've already finished about 25 minutes. Professor Sheshadri Nathan said I can speak for 1 hour. This reminds me in my Rotary Club, my Rotary Club, I was handling all these speeches. So speaker used to come and say, sir, how long can I speak? And we meet in the afternoon for our meetings. So in the afternoon he will come and I'll say, sir, you can speak however long you want, but our members will leave in 20 minutes. I know all of you are students or research scholars. You have no choice but to be here, but I cannot bore you. So which is why I'm doing all these other things, okay? Plus I also need to keep myself entertained. So if you notice in the West, for example, last 15, 20 years, there is a new kind of thing called this woke business, okay? W-O-K-E. Go and look at it. It sounds very funny in Tamil, but actually it means that there is a very different way. They had cancel culture. It was very prominent. It's still very prominent in humanities, arts, that kind of subjects. You are seeing a lot of it in quite a few other things. They are saying even maths is racist, for example. Okay, that maths is racist. So, so all those things. And today you'll find a lot of backlash against Indians in the US because Indians are doing well in math B, spelling B, etc. So, a lot of people in the US, whether both on the woke side or on the white Christian supremacist side, both are very unhappy with the Indian because the Indian is doing the best. Number one earning community in the USA is the Indian. Okay, beaten even the Jew. This is very strange. So Indians are not very liked, but that's part of the bias, cognitive bias. Okay, and this is a big problem. Don't think just because you are going there, it fully merit this, that nonsense. It's also this bias. And lastly, this is the big one, which is, how you collect your data determines how you analyze the data. There is an old principle called GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Correct? So many times, many of you might remember an old Vivek comedy. I think movie called Run with Madhavan. With a famous scene on Kaka Biryani. Okay. So, whatever input you give is the same that you get as output. That's the point I'm making, Even the statistical techniques you use make a big difference. For instance, I ask many people, under what occasions will you use a mean? Under what occasions will you use a median? Under what occasions will you use a mode and why? Okay, 90% plus will not tell you why they will use which of these most simplest things, okay, what will happen. Number two, if they're having samples, suppose they have, as a rule of thumb, if you have a sample of 30, you can generally say, I can with a standard deviation of about 1, 90% level of confidence, I can say that what is happening from that 30 can be extrapolated to the whole. Yes or no? Correct. So for example, my maths professor used to do this trick. He will in a class ask how many have birthdays. And he will say, I will bet you 100 rupees that by the 30th person I will find 2 people with the same birthday. And there's a 90% chance he will find. Okay. So I'll give you this small trick, okay, just try it out. Just do it in your mind. 70% of children are born within 1 month of either parent's birthday. 70% of children are born within 1 month of either parent's birthday. Just check in your mind, just check in your family, okay, and you will see that what I'm saying is right. Now, actually what I'm asking you to do, now there are 2 parents, correct? And I'm saying within 1 month of either parent's birthday. What am I doing? Parent 1, parent 2. So 2 months here, 2 months here, 4. So 4 out of 12, 1/3. I've already taken care of one level of statistical, I've discounted it. So now I'm playing with the balance 66%. Okay. And I'm saying there's a 70% chance. Now this is where it becomes interesting. So there is a very interesting thing, okay, about the power of compounding. I would request all of you to start saving as soon as you start earning. Not at the age of 30, even at the age of 21, one age of 22. The power of compounding, just check it out. Even 5 years makes a big difference. 5 years, the power of compounding. Okay, simple, not simple interest, compounding. So this is what I'm asking you to think about. So just think about all of this, very interesting. Make maths fun, that's what I found. my worst subject in school was chemistry. But my most money came in life from chemistry. You know, somehow God gave me that. I joined chemical company like Asian Paints, full chemistry only. Okay, all paint, everything is full chemistry at the back end. My biggest money came when I started doing work in India with chemical industry, petrochemical industry, drug intermediates, my biggest money. I went abroad started doing work abroad. My biggest customers were chemistry companies. So Chandu Nair, who knew nothing about chemistry, had to go and talk to people like Reliance Chemicals about petrochemicals, the full value chain. I had to learn from scratch, you know, from the beginning till the end. After 2-3 years, I was like mini expert on all things to do with chemistry, okay. It actually, I'm telling you, show me the incentive and I'll show you the behavior, what I talked about earlier. Why all this is a problem? It creates distorted impressions. It leads to false conclusions, leads to bad decisions, wrong decisions, potential harm, financial losses. You know, there is a famous thing that spinach, number keeraila irukliya, for many years they said, best source of iron, best source. Even doctors used to say, till they found that actually the original research, which was the basis for it, had a decimal point error, which gave a factor of 10 extra to the power of spinach or keere. It took till 1981, the research was done in 1850s. But till 1981, nobody found out that this was the problem. Everybody thought keere was good. So, bad, okay. Number 2, can you imagine Harvard Medical actually worked with the sugar industry to downplay the bad effects of sugar and to downplay the linkages with heart-related issues? If a Harvard can do it, what are we? But even they did it, okay. Do you know in pharmaceutical research, nearly 50% of data is supposed to be unreliable? You and I are eating medicine. Based on what data? Funny data. In the recent years, you would have heard of somebody called Djokovic, lost on Sunday. At the age of 38, he lost Australian Open. He refused to take the COVID vaccine. Why? He said it is something funny, it interferes with the human body. He didn't take the COVID vaccine, was not allowed to play Australian Open for 2 years, in 2021 and 2022. But he stuck fast. Today people are saying, yes, there are a lot of complications with respect to that vaccine. But at that time they all said what? You should take it. If you don't take it, you cannot travel, you cannot do all of us. Please give, sir. I want to take booster also, sir. Correct? Why? Because we were not given proper data, but we were put into fear. So, I can use data to make you afraid. And that is what many governments do. They use data to make you afraid, so that you believe them and you obey them. Okay? So this is what I said, show me the incentive and I will show you the behavior. And there is a beautiful line always, lies, damn lies and statistics. And the other statement which I didn't want to put here because I said I'll say it, statistics is like a bikini. What it reveals is important. What it conceals is vital. Okay? Please understand when you're doing research, what you're giving as information and data is important, but what you're hiding is sometimes far more important. And today's researcher actually plays around by hiding things. Okay? So this is what I'm saying. Now I come to a very horrible topic, which is of our Indian attitude and approach. Are we okay here? Or you want me to do one more game? Just tell me, okay? I'll talk about the Indian attitude and approach. I will talk about what I call the 3 Ds. And the 3 Ds are data, documentation, and discipline. Okay, and I can tell you that I'll put it with a difference in my experience between Indians and people in the West, particularly the Western companies, the Western-oriented organizations. Now, if you take data, how many of you take a decision based on data? How many of you see TV debates on the television channels political debates, how many of people give data? How many of you make it personal? 90% it becomes personal, no? Very little is data. So Indians operate with very little data, and I'll give you some statistics. For example, more than 60% in India have problematic data practices. 82% of the employees say that Indian companies are not transparent. How many companies have been data breached? More than half of the companies. That means their data is fully taken, including your data. Big companies, taken out. Deming, very famous man in quality, said, in God we trust, everybody else must bring data. Okay, this is the attitude there. But let me start with a history lesson. 327 BC. 327 BC is about 2000 plus 327. 2328 years ago. 27 plus 25, no, 3052 years ago. What is remarkable about this date? Anybody in this year? Anybody has any idea? Okay. This is the year Alexander from Greece invaded India. How do we know it? We didn't document it. They documented it. Why? India has got oral tradition. Those fellows have written tradition. So it is like a husband fighting with wife. He will never win. Because oral tradition beats any documentation. Correct? This is the tragedy still. This culture of oral tradition versus not writing, we still have it in our head. And that's why the problem is. Coupled with the fact of discipline. The simple fact of discipline is we don't have it. Traffic being the best example. In the US, if there is a stop sign 3 a.m. at night, stop sign, nobody will cross that stop sign if that light is red. Nobody will cross. Very rare fellow will cross. Okay. And if you by chance cross, the fine is so much that your license can be cancelled. In Singapore, I went with a friend of mine and he didn't take a U-turn at one place. So I asked him, Alok, why you didn't take a U-turn here, you know? So he said, Chandu, let me explain difference between Singapore and India. In Singapore, unless something is expressly allowed, it is forbidden. In India, unless something is expressly forbidden, it is allowed. And even if it is forbidden, we will still do it. Okay? Discipline, if you want to get ahead, you will find that the person with discipline is the person who wins, not the person who is brilliant. Vinod Kambli, Sachin Tendulkar. Kambli is actually the more talented cricketer. He is actually the better cricketer. But Tendulkar was the more disciplined cricketer. Anytime Tendulkar got out to a shot, he'll go back to Shivaji Park in the night at Dadar, bring those bowlers, some local bowlers, and say, please bowl that outswinger, in-swinger, bowl it to me 100 times. That's discipline. Okay? That is not talent. And any day, discipline beats talent. Please understand that. You ask somebody like Neeraj Chopra to get that back, to bend, your javelin to bend back. You should see the exercises he does to get that flexibility. Djokovic, when asked, finally he won Wimbledon, he asked, how are you celebrating? He said, I'm going to have a piece of chocolate after 2 years. One piece of chocolate. He said, for 2 years I've denied myself chocolate. That is discipline. Okay, that is not talent. That is why at 38 he's still able to play the highest level of tennis. He's still in the top 3 in the world. That is discipline. Okay. And let me tell you, this is what is the most important thing anywhere in life. So this is the story of the 3 Ds. So one of the things that we have, you'll find, apart from doing politics about Aryan, Dravidian, this, that, etc., nonsense all the time, if you actually look at it, like I said, do we believe a white man when he says something, or do we believe our own person next to us when he gives some information? BBC better than Pudhiya Thalaimurai, yes or no? Even if BBC is talking nonsense, Even you are standing on the site and BBC reports, you say, I don't believe my eyes, I believe BBC. What nonsense, no? This is, have some basic, start having some respect for what you do, others will then respect what you do. The problem is, if you neither trust nor respect what you do, nobody else will have the need to trust or respect what you do. Okay? Second, when I used to work here, I once gave my report, which we spent 50,000, that time many lot of money, 50,000, 1 lakh rupees collecting data. I went to Delhi and I gave it to a fellow just to show him. I think then he said, I'll just have a look at it, I'll show to my colleague. After 20 minutes also, he didn't come. I went inside to the office and found he was happily taking photocopy of that report, free. So then only I realized in India, information is equal to the price of photocopy. How many of you pay for data, information? How many of you, I'm investor in gaming company. Okay, I'm investor in 2-3 dating companies. How many people pay for games in India? 2%, 3%. Most of our money comes only from abroad, not from India. Sad. Nobody wants to pay for quality information or quality data. They want everything free. Okay. Second, we don't like long-term systematic thing. We like shortcuts, jugad, as they call it. I started my company many years ago. Only when I started going abroad did my company scale up. When we had this internet boom, we also grew very heavily. When we had the internet bust, we had to stop and restart. I almost got bankrupted twice. Okay, 9 months, no salary, child, wife, etc. couldn't manage very properly. When we went abroad, we found that those people respected the value of information and were prepared to pay money. So from about 60 people, we grew in 7 years to 1,100 people. What we couldn't do in India. Okay. Because those people respected value. And I asked my friend, Samar, I said, what is the difference? He said, in India, in the US, the systems and infrastructure are designed in such a way that even an ordinary guy can perform extraordinarily. In India, the systems and infrastructure are designed in such a way that even an extraordinary guy will perform ordinarily. That is the tragedy. Okay, we make sure others fail as much as we do. So this is the other thing, that it is individual based. The rule is based on who the individual is, not on based on what the issue is. That's the problem. In the US, even if I know you as a friend, if you don't come with the ID card, the security guy won't let you go through. He will say, I'm sorry, you have to be clocked into the system. 95% plus of the time. In India, 95% of plus, mama, nethukku na paathen, papa, vama. Ulla polam. We do this nonsense, okay? Nothing is based on creating institutional capacity, creating institutional memory. And finally, too much bureaucracy. I once went to give my ration card application. I went exactly by what they said. Though I had contacts, I didn't want to use the contact. And that fellow knew he wanted to get money from me. He didn't want to tell me. So I asked him all the quick questions. I went and checked online. Then I went to give the form personally. Then he said everything was correct. But then he tried to tell me, sir, the photo is not the right size. I said, nowhere it's mentioned what the size of the photo should be. Ipo naan solren. Now at that point, you are based on what? Oral tradition. And that fellow is the fellow who can block you. So what do I call Indian bureaucracy? Have you heard of story of Bhasmasura? No? So there was once one gentleman who prayed a lot, it seems, a lot to Lord Shiva. And he said, I want this, I'm your biggest devotee. After many years, Lord Shiva comes and tells him, you have done great job, boss. You were very devoted to me. Tell me, what varam do you want? What wish do you want? So he said, I have this very simple wish, Lord Shiva. Said, what? That anything I touch should turn to Bhasmam, ash. So Shiva said, okay, never thought much about it. Okay, have it. First man he wanted to touch was Shiva. Okay, so Shiva went all around running. This fellow was trying to do this thing. Then Shiva had to call Vishnu, and I will not go into the story, but Vishnu became Mohini and made Bhasmasura, attracted to Mohini. And then Bhasmasura said, I'll marry you, Mohini, but he said, how can I marry you and all? How do I know you will be loyal to me, etc. You are such a very, tough guy. You don't know why, I don't know what you will do tomorrow. Tomorrow you will touch me and I will go busting. So he said, God promise, God promise. I will not do, he said. So he said, how do I know? He said, God promise, God promise. That won't work. Put your hand on your head and say, God promise. Fellow put his hand on his head, Busku. He went, okay. So this is the story of Bhasmasura. Our Indian bureaucracy is Bhasmasura. They will not let you prosper, but they will destroy you. By and large, okay. So this is the tragedy. Everything becomes this kind of nonsense. This is the one I was talking about, okay. So lesson for me, I found in India no point saying Saraswati, Saraswati. We only put Saraswati in the puja room. That's all. But all we want is Lakshmi. So what I did, here we all kumudify to Saraswati. Okay, in India total bowing to Saraswati. But we went overseas for Lakshmi. So what I was getting 1 rupee in India, I was getting 20, 30 rupees overseas. So Chandu Nair, the fact that for the last 20 years I don't work, I have not worked because I sold my company. From the money I made from the company, I spend my time writing, teaching, researching, talking, investing, blah, blah. Okay. Why? Because of the fact that I could earn Lakshmi abroad. Now, this is the tragedy, okay, that we do not value information so much. When do we value information? Only at a time of crisis. So, who do we pay for information? Heart attack suddenly, we pay 5 lakhs in one day to doctor. Yes or no? Some bad legal case, we pay 25 lakhs also to Kapil Sibal for one appearance in court, Supreme Court. Why? That time you are like Hanuman, tail is burning. So no other choice. Okay, so that's what is happening to all of us. This is one of my favorite lines when I come to research. Okay, it's very, very nice. Theory is when you know everything, but nothing works. Professor Seshadri Nathan said, no, we teach what is there in the book. And people like me are the ones who apply what is there in the book. The second bit is practices when everything works, but no one knows why. Most times in India, we know that nothing is working, but we don't know why. So that is a tragedy, a lot of research also here. Okay, this is what is happening to all of us. That many things somehow work, we don't know why. Many things don't work, we don't know why. That's why India continues to be how it goes. And the other thing which I want you to keep stressing, which is we talked about iteration. Alvin Toffler made this statement many years ago. The real illiterate of today is not the one who cannot read and write, but the one who cannot learn, unlearn and relearn. What I have learned 25 years back in management, 30 plus years back in management is dead today. I have to keep myself alive. Even to make this PPT, I used ChatGPT type equivalent, Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini. I used 3-4 tools to bring together this PPT, you know that? Because my design skills are one, but this fellow's design skills are better. Okay. Now I'm coming to the last bit. Kadavule finally stopping to talk. Okay. So here's what I'm going to talk about. Okay. Now this is very interesting. I'm going to give you this exercise, okay? It is good for all of you in your life. Good for all of you in your life, okay? There is a principle called the one thing. The one thing, okay? If there is one thing you can do better than anybody else, what is that one thing? What is that one thing you can do which you will focus on, which will make you better than anything else? Okay? I'll give you an example. How many of you have flown by air? How many have gone by flight? Many have gone by flight. How many have gone by Indigo? Okay, many have gone by Indigo. So you can go by, I'll give you Indigo example. So the Indigo example, sorry, what you can do in your college. Now if I take Indigo Airlines, what is one thing that it is most terrifically associated with? One thing. The word is on time arrival. If you take Indigo versus other airlines, 90% chance that it will arrive on time. Just take one thing, arrival, on-time arrival. Now for Indigo to make on-time arrival the focus, what did it do? It did very many things. One, earlier it was separate cleaning crew. Now the cabin crew itself is cleaning crew, number one. Number two, passengers also cleaning crew. We also have to keep putting things, in the coupe. Please come, they'll come 2-3 times, okay. Number two, where is the clerk? Today there is no clerk. You do the booking yourself, okay. You take the boarding pass yourself. Many times you also have to take the luggage tag yourself, okay. For all that you pay convenience fee. You do all the work, but you pay the convenience fee, okay. They have done the second thing, which means before you go to the airport, all these things you have already done. You are not going to the airport and getting it done. So that means they need less people, okay. Number three, they stop serving hot coffee and tea online, okay. Why? 1 kilo costs 2,300 rupees worth of airline fuel, aviation fuel. So lesser the weight, the more the savings on fuel, okay, and the faster the plane can go. Number four, for every kilo over 15 kilos, they charge you 600, 500 rupees excess baggage. Why? Because they want you to reduce the weight, or they'll take the money for it. So in all these ways, what did they say? I want to improve the turnaround of the aircraft. So why they did all this? To reduce the time so that that plane will land on time. To do that one thing, on-time arrival, look at the changes it had to make in every aspect of the functioning. Okay. So my question, therefore, is, if you are the DG Vaishnav College and you are the Department of Commerce, if you could be known for one thing, what will it be? I'll give you from a Chennai perspective. If I go to Sri Krishna Sweets, what do I go for? Mysore Pa, not Mysore Pak. My question to all of you is, what is your Mysore Pa? What is your Mysore Pa? When you go to an interview, the standard thing I ask is, who are you, what do you do? Tell me something about yourself. Myself, Chandu Nair, blah, blah, 10 feet, 6 feet, 5 feet, 4 feet, 70 kilos, 80 kilos. Boring. Why? I don't care what you have, but I care what you do with what you have. Okay? I care what I can do with what you have. And I care what all this means for you and me. But I don't care what you have. Just because you are 5 feet 6 inches doesn't mean anything to me. Doesn't mean. It's just a statistic. What you can do with that is what is important. That's what I'm coming to. If there is one thing, and here is where I'm coming to, what you can consider doing. And this is the last bit. I promise you, I've already finished 48, 49 minutes, but I was told I can speak for more than 45 minutes. First I thought, how will I speak so much? Even my wife doesn't listen to me for 45 seconds. But I said, let me try. Okay. So this is what I'm giving. This is the bit, okay. Now, what you already heard was, what is transformation, basically? Basically, trying to create new field of study leads to new technologies. Now, here is where I'm going to come to very interesting things for all of you. We are trying to go away from convention. We are going to go away from single discipline. Because today, somebody like me, when I'm talking, I tell my son, who's a BSc statistics, today if you're a good statistics guy, and commerce guys can be good at statistics, okay? I'll tell you why. If you combine commerce with statistics, with a basic level of understanding of software, okay, if you know statistics, you are prince, okay? If you know statistics plus software, you are king. But if you know statistics plus software and you are superb in any one topic or subject, then you are emperor. Okay? So my thing to you is, even if you are a commerce person, get some knowledge of, become kick-ass in Excel. Excel itself is superb, okay? Today what Excel you have is not the Excel I had earlier. What SPSS you had that time is not the SPSS of today. You can do wonders with it, Okay, and today if you couple it with AI, you bring in AI into Excel, the interpretations you can make, the graphs you can make, the analysis you can make is of an order of magnitude much better. So my thing to you is, don't think you're a commerce graduate. Think of yourself as commerce as the foundation, like vanilla ice cream, on which you are putting some other flavor. Then you are putting nuts and walnuts and dry fruits, etc. Then you are making it a sundae. What did I tell about tomato? By itself, tomato is nothing. But the way you convert the tomato is what makes it something. So BCom is vanilla. Now add things on top of it to make it super sundae. Okay, that's what you really need to do. Why? The goal is to make revolutionary changes in commerce and finance. So here is what I'm looking at. Interdisciplinary, look at new markets. And I'll give you some thoughts and options. I'll quickly conclude. So if you look at things in India, lot of things have happened. I'm going to sorry, I have not put what is happening. Sorry. This is, I'm playing with two machines plus a third machine. It is my timekeeper. Okay, already done 55 minutes. So if you look at all these things, look at it. Do you know that UPI is only less than 10 years old? UPI is less than 10 years old. How many of you last used cash apart from the girl who got 100 rupees today? You got 100 rupees, okay. How many of you have used cash in the recent past? Some of you. How many of you have gone to a bank in the last 5 months? Not bad. Why, man? To get loan, huh? Huh? To start new account. Oh, okay. I'm asking the older people who had accounts, when is the last time you visited a branch? You visited last month. Very rare nowadays, correct? When is the last time you visited a railway station to get a booking done? Okay, so things have changed. But is our research keeping pace with that change? No. What are we doing? We are allowing Abhijit Mukherjee, etc., Abhijit Banerjee, Nobel Prize winner economics, to do all that research sitting where? Somewhere in the US. He is doing research on all this. These kind of things. Okay. In nano economics, that's what he's doing. Universal benefits transfer, etc., is what he's doing. What have we done here? All these are things happening today. What is the work that Vaishnav College can actually start thinking of doing? I am saying don't start big. Even if you start, Vijay Narayan was telling me he works with the Cancer Institute. You start even in the NGOs, get some free work done, give free work, use your students, make them apply some of their things. Start with some small thing. No, it is possible. I'll show you what one particular institute in India did. Look at all the things you can do. ESG. Any of you know what full form of ESG is? Very good. Environment, sustainability and governance. Big thing today. What do we know here in Vaishnav College? Nothing. Okay, nothing. So this is what we have to start thinking about. Look at all this, so many things. So here is what other universities abroad have done. They have look at how they have actually mapped many of these activities to create a center. You don't have to be everything, no. You can start in one area, one small area within that area. You can actually become the best person. Like for example, you take Rotterdam School of Management, they have taken sustainability goals, mapped financial programs to that and said, look, what are we doing here? How is European companies doing things over here? And they have started doing completely great things there. Consumer marketing, I will not go because that's a very widely done area, very tough for us to compete. But I will go to other areas that were there. Okay, this is what I would recommend that we start thinking of doing. Like if you take India, there are these kind of areas. Do we know what is happening here? How has UPI changed behavior among all of us? Where are we using it? Where are we not using it? What is the problems with it, etc., etc.? What's the harm in doing a study just in Chennai, just seeing how it has improved financial access in slums? Possible to do, nothing problematic about it. It's easy to do, and it can go global. You can be the kick-ass person for self-help group related research or something like that. Look at the things. financial protection, behavioral economics. Yesterday STT was increased on F&O. The point to ask is, should F&O be allowed for more than 90% of traders? The answer should be no. But what has happened, SEBI has allowed it for everybody. So 90% of people are losing money in futures and options. That's a study we can do. It can also expose your students to what is the stock market. Now there are not enough stock market professionals who are trained. This is an area that we can work on. This is an area we can really show, and you can actually, if I were to look at it from your point of view, I will say my capitation fee can increase because I'm giving you much better job at the end of a BCom, okay? I can actually do that. So you can actually give value for money is what I'm saying, okay? Now how do you do this? This is a subject of a whole different consulting exercise, but it requires so many building blocks. Essentially it is for the college management, not for a general audience, so I will not get into details about what is required. What I'm saying today, you were talking about interdisciplinary. I am saying we should incorporate AI machine learning into our BCom, into our PG. We should do it, make them use blended Excel, blended SPSS, make them actually start using it. Even in law, madam, there is a company called Spot Draft in Bangalore. It raised 25 million. It creates a legal draft in less than a minute or two. Okay. You can create anything you want. Corporate law, you want an M&A agreement, it does it very fast. You want it for Indian thing, you want it for US, it does it. Okay. Why am I not doing it? Okay. But if I'm doing it, how do I put the checks and balances? Where do I bring the human in the middle? Those are the areas I'm saying we can start thinking of doing. Improve the way our students get jobs. If today a student is getting 20,000, 25,000, our student should get 50,000 to 60,000. If I can give that guarantee to the student that I am making you better student, better for industry, students will come more and more to us. Okay? We are getting a specialist student. Look at this. So many things you can do. Okay? I can really give you a very complete exercise. We can have a separate discussion on it. I won't do it today. And this is the kind of infrastructure you need, that we are talking about, the kind of ecosystem we need to develop with others. I am a big man for an ecosystem. I think we cannot operate as an individual college. We need to work not only with industry, with other institutes like IFMR, for example. I'll give you an example. In the US, there is a college called Babson College. Nobody knows much about Babson. Everybody knows the other MBAs. But Babson is the #1 college in the US for entrepreneurship. It is a specialist school for entrepreneurship. We can become a specialist school. This is my point. We can become a specialist school. We can become the best, not only in Chennai, in South India, but even in India or South Asia. So this calls, I'm sorry, I'm just giving this more for the people in the first few rows, just to tell you that there is a lot of work. It's possible to do all this, but it requires us to do a bunch of things at the back end, okay? I'm getting into a little bit of detail how you can have a discovery track and a delivery track. Discovery track is internal, delivery track is external, and how you can start building things out here. And it comes into that iterative stuff, etc., etc. And I've given you an example. I'm also talking about implementation roadmap, okay, which is very aggressive, 24 months. Okay, I'm ending with a couple of things. One is the IISc. IISc 15 years ago was known as a very boring institute. Today, if you look at IISc, in the last 5 years, 40 startups have emerged. And the best part is the faculty members today are also entrepreneurs. And they are making money. Okay. On the other hand, CSIR is struggling, despite having the most amount of money among the research labs. So final word, I like this country called Israel. Okay. It is a tiny country, but it is among the world's best in cyber security, in certain aspects of agriculture, in certain aspects of AI, machine learning, certain aspects of defense technology. It hasn't gone to every area. It has taken 3-4 areas and it has become world beater. Okay. One of my investee companies called Shield Square was sold to an Israeli NASDAQ listed company about 8 years ago. I made a lot of money on that company because Israeli company bought it in cyber security. The second one is to build a culture. Right now our culture is somehow send the student out, somehow finish our portions and do nothing else. Okay. Somehow get NAC rating of 1, etc. and be happy. I think we should get out of that numbers game. Okay. This is what it is. I can tell you today confidently that funding is available. There's CSR money, there is other kinds of money. We need not worry so much about it if you have a proposition that makes a lot of sense. You can get it. It is not a problem at all, is my view. And I would say, forget about others. Be like you're playing golf. Your handicap is what matters, not what others are playing. Let them play their game. You play your game. You be confident about it. Be happy about it. And that's why I like this. One of my favorite stanzas is from the Bhagavad Gita. Is chapter 3, verse 21. Yadyat acharati shrestha tadat devetaro janah sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. Okay. Basically, whatever action a great man does, the common man follows. Whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts is what the world pursues. We can be the exemplar. We set the standard. You can do it, any of us can do it, okay? And I would therefore urge you, you can follow your own motto, that Satyam Parama Dhimahi. Let us meditate on that one supreme truth, okay? And therefore, I end with this, Yad Bhavo Tad Bhavati. You become what you believe. Thank you, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a pleasure talking to all of you. If you want to ask me anything, you want to blast me, I'll be very happy. I have taken 1 hour, 5 minutes. Huh? Thank you. I have taken 1 hour, 5 minutes. Huh? You can ask me anything. There is no such thing as a stupid question. There's only something called a stupid answer. So don't worry about the question, okay? When I was in Vaishnav, I used to be very scared of talking first. That's why I went and started doing skit in order to get over stage fear. What I said is, if I don't make a fool of myself, others will make a fool of me. Any question, doesn't matter. Yeah, one girl here. Okay. How do you bounce back? See, this is, have you seen a little baby when it is learning how to walk? It falls down, no? When you starts walking, it will fall down, right? What does the baby do? Does it say, oh, I fell down, I won't get up again? Correct. It says, I still want to walk. So, one of the things I realized early on is that failure is success is getting up one more time than you fall down. Just that one extra time. So, the second thing is, you did not fail. Don't take that failure personally, okay? You did not fail. That idea failed. Many people in India, if something that you did failed, they'll say you failed. Don't take it like that. Let them say what they want. But that particular idea failed, or the way you did it failed. You did not fail. So take that very clearly. However much people try to put you down, that doesn't matter. Be like the baby. Just get up each time you fall down. Number one. Number two, you also have to go back and think what could you have done differently. Okay. So way I look at it, one good friend of mine said, Chandu, there is no such thing as a right decision or a wrong decision. There is only a decision. You first take the decision, then you make it right. Because till you take the decision, you don't know whether it is right or wrong. Everybody says this is the right decision, wrong decision. Don't know till you take it. For example, I'm crossing the road. In India, it's a big decision. So anything can be taken. If you start over analyzing and thinking good decision, bad decision, wrong decision, right, you will never take a decision. So just take it. Okay. So this is what I feel, that one, be like the baby. Second, think of what you could have done differently and actually work at it. And third, be decisive. You wanted something more? Hard time. Hard time, you just have to somehow believe that it is not going to last. So there is a very nice saying which says, tough times tough times don't last, but tough people do. Okay, number one. At the same time, the big challenge is you can manage it, but if you have a spouse, you have a child. Like for example, for about 9-12 months, we could not go on holiday, could not get things for the child. Child does not understand. So you have to sensitize the child in some way, or you have to figure out ways by which you can manage that situation for the child. So the child doesn't see or feel that difference, in some way. That's more tough, because at that younger age, children will compare with other children. And it can affect you. So that's a big, tough situation that time. It's tricky, very tricky. No, they can't hear you. Ama.
So, discussion was made about research not being bona fide or fabricated, isn't it? Now, if funding be in place, and what are the other issues to address this gap? Somebody wants to do it genuinely, worked very hard in whichever facet, accounting, finance, or whichever. But funding, how can they be to address this gap? What can be?
How can they?
How can this gap, people who want to do it genuinely without copying, they have the knowledge by themselves. Then what is the challenge? How can this be addressed?
So I think one is for you, what I found is, most of us, we live not only, like I said, about opportunities knocking on the door, but what is most of us doing? We are putting earplug, sitting inside AC bedroom, and the drawing room is there, then the outside door is there. I find the same problem with researchers. They do not build an outside network. They do not build an ecosystem of support. My contention has been that even if you are doing work in a particular area, it's good to develop an ecosystem, a network of people, because that will help you get over even tough times when you're doing that research, number one. Number two, I feel research has to be iterative. A lot of people start wanting to be perfectionist in research. They think they should identify the problem. They don't want to discuss that problem with somebody else, whether the problem itself has merit in studying, what the approach I'm taking is right. They don't bounce it off somebody else. Be like a software developer sometimes, Put it out there and say, I just want your feedback. Even you put it on a Reddit, you'll get, a lot of feedback free. That will help you in developing the network, and many times give bits and pieces. People react to those bits and pieces and come back to you. You can even put it on X. You'll find people give surprising feedback. So one is to build a network, okay. Number two is to create an ecosystem of collaborators, etc., that you can work with. Then slowly start developing your presence with key publications and papers. Because you need to get, like suppose you're writing on marketing research. If you don't get into JMR, that's no point. You finally have to be in Journal of Marketing Research. So you have to be there, right? So how do you make sure that you get to a position where you can reach that level? So how do you do that? Maybe you can collaborate with somebody who's specializing in that area, but in a university, say in Rotterdam, or some university in, say, Texas, McGill, and say, look, I'd like to work with you. Can we do a cross-border thingy? here's what I will do, this is what you will do, etc., etc. So once you start doing that, no, you will also start feeling more confident. Many times what is happening is we just sit in our own little well and don't move out a lot more. And secondly, we are very afraid of failure. Unlike the white guy who's got more options, we get so scared. The smallest problem, we start saying, oh, we'll doubt ourselves. Then we stop doing it. Okay, we'll have a crisis of confidence. So second thing I would say is to work on ourselves also, to become more confident of ourselves, what we are doing. See, when I've gone for conferences in early 2000s in Europe, where I was the only brown guy in the room, it can be very difficult sometimes, no? The rest of the people are almost all white. So you will find it sometimes, oh my God, am I the right guy in this place, etc. We have to work on ourselves as well. And that's why in some ways I like our current cricket team, post Saurav Ganguly, in that we have actually got some self-confidence that we can be better. Sometimes it becomes arrogance, but at least we should get self-confidence. Correct. No, I'm just saying that's why I said, I would stop at self-confidence and all that rather than go into arrogance. But there is a lot that we as academicians and researchers need to do. For example, if I were to take my own company, we were the world's leading providers, we were the people providing the world's best information to the world's leading providers of information. So I was dealing with American Chemical Society, Institute of Physics UK, IEEE in USA, McGraw-Hill with Elsevier, Thomson Reuters. But I could not create a scope database because nobody was ready for it, and I also didn't have the confidence that we could create an Indian global database. So that was 25 years ago. But today I think we should think about creating something like that. But that time I did not have the confidence myself. I instead became a provider to all those people, and they were the world's leading providers. They still are the world's leading providers.
Morning, sir.
Where are you?
Yeah, last.
Oh, yeah. Pink man.
Morning, sir.
Morning. Sorry, I think you're talking to yourself.
Hello? Yes. Alfin Tofflex, one slide you showed as the illiterate of the 21st century will be not those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. What I've come across is
your
Hello?
mic is, learning is difficult, yes.
But unlearning is even more difficult.
Correct.
I'm
Correct.
My question is, what is unlearning or relearning?
See, first is to know that what you have got so far is junk. It's a very difficult thing to accept. So I'll give you an example. What is your name?
Ganesh.
Ganesh. So Ganesh is normally the first thing we go, whenever temple we go, no, first we'll go there and tell Ganesh, boss, remove the obstacle, no? So what is the obstacle to improve yourself is to remove what you already have. And one is that your current learning may be the obstacle, okay? I'll give you an example from a practical point of view. I learned swimming first, okay? And I was a terrible swimmer in the sense, I could never complete one lap without falling or without gasping for breath. Then I realized that my technique of swimming was erroneous. I wasn't breathing properly. Unless I corrected the way I was breathing while swimming, there is no way I can do more than one lap continuously. So I spent 3-4 months just working on improving how I breathed in the swimming pool. Okay, it took me 3 months. In those 3 months, the focus was only on mastering breathing. It took 3 months. It's a painful thing. That's why I use the word discipline. Okay, for example, when I fractured my left hand, in order to build the muscle in my left hand, I stopped using my right hand to brush my teeth, to shave, to do all this. I used my left hand because I said, let me get flexibility. I also started playing badminton with my left hand. It's very difficult, okay? Just try to do some of these things with your left hand, which you are used to your right hand. Okay, brushing your teeth, doing all this, putting makeup, etc., putting your kanmashi, etc., no? Tough. I'm just saying to do this, you have to break your mind. and you just have to do it every day in small, small bits. I'm trying to do Padmasana for the last 3 years, not succeeding. I can only do Ardha Padmasana. But if I do it every day, each day my hip becomes flexible, more flexible. One fine day it will happen. So first is to let go. That's why if you ask me, I'm sorry I'm bringing a Hindu god metaphor, but this is why I like the concept behind Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva to me is the person, symbolizes creative destruction. In order to create, you first have to destroy. Okay? And I think that concept of creative destruction is what we need to bring if you're talking about this thing about unlearning and relearning. I hope I gave you some explanation. It requires discipline, determination. Very tough. Like even today, if you ask me suddenly to, I'm so used to making my own presentations that if there are better tools today, will make better presentations than I do. I'm still not using those tools fully enough. Tough. Next. Here, 1 second. First, this purple, then we'll come to you. No, he's there. 2 fellows are there. He's already got blue mic. Then the orange mic will come. Blue mic.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I wanted to ask, before investing in any particular business or in industry, what do you think, what are the factors which you consider, which makes you, take the move?
So if I simply distill it, I look at only 2 eyes first. 2 eyes means not 2 eyes. I, 2 letter I. Okay. First I is the individual. And the second I is the idea. So to my mind, the individual makes the biggest difference at the very early stage. I invest in an early stage company, okay? At that very early stage, the individual makes a big difference because I feel an extraordinary individual can make a fantastic business out of an ordinary idea. Example, you take something like idli batter. So everybody makes idli batter, but it is Mustafa who took idli batter, branded it into ID, and made it a 700 crore business. So an extraordinary individual can take an ordinary idea and make it extraordinary. I invested in a cookware company, that too cast iron cookware, Indus Valley. Nobody thought Indus Valley can sell cast iron cookware online. We thought that it can, and that too is not selling to my grandmother, it is selling to 22 to 38-year-old ladies. Okay? But today that company is almost touching 200 crores in selling cast iron cookware, pressure cookers, etc., all online. So first is the individual. Second is the quality of the idea. How good is that idea? How differentiated, unique, and defensible it is. If I see both blending nicely, then I go ahead. Then I, of course, look at other things, for the hygiene factors like the accounting, finance, compliance, etc. are all okay. So without a clean kitchen, you cannot make great food, is my concept. So all the things with the hygiene factors I look at, but essentially these 2 eyes. Orange mic.
Sir, my question is that how to raise money for a startup without any traction or revenue?
It is possible, and that's why my recommendation, if you still have to develop it idea, go and work with an incubator. I'm part of 2-3 incubators, IIM Kozhikode Live incubator. I'm part of Crescent in Chennai, Vandalur. Crescent has given more than 20 odd crores to startups through various central government schemes. We also have got quite a few of our startups who got central state government innovation voucher programs. Today it's a great time to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of free money. We work with 8 different government departments at the center, plus of course state government of Tamil Nadu. So if you are a student also, there are a lot of schemes available for you to get money from different governments and different government schemes. So I don't think you really need to worry too much about it. And especially if you're working in deep science, deep tech, etc., which includes parts of AI, investors and the government knows that it may take 6 to 8 years for your idea to become, what should I call, commercialized. So they don't mind helping you along the way. Just to give an example, Department of Biotech, through BIRAC, BIRAC, gives even up to 8 to 10 crores to companies as grants over a period of time. So I don't think you really have to worry about it. If you are a smart fellow with a great idea, and willing to work hard, but you have to also be willing to sacrifice something. So way I looked at it, when I worked in Asian Paints, I was traveling by air. I was the youngest guy on the balance sheet. You know, that time you had to give those people who earned so much and so much money. For 2 years, I was the youngest fellow on the balance sheet. When I left Asian Paints, then became a business journalist, then became an entrepreneur. From flying by air, I was going by third class. From staying in star hotels, I was staying in Murugan Lodge. Are you willing to do all that?
Yes, sir.
Morning, sir.
Morning.
So my question is about when we do a research or when we extract the data from the research, sometimes I'm not able to find that is it adequate or sufficient for what I need, or is it fake? So what about that?
Oh, this validation is a big thing. If you, as you are collecting data, like when we used to do data collection for the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, the Wholesale Price Index, depending on at the aggregate level, we at least did 20-25% back checks. Okay, but if it's a new person who's coming new, we might initially even do 100% back check. Okay, or it's a tricky area, like we know Vaipin Island in Kerala, in Cochin, is tricky. There we may do 100%. So you need to check, see, because in this data integrity is the biggest. Like I said, the invoice is the most pristine document in commerce. So if the questionnaire or the source document is poor, whatever conclusion you derive from it is going to be pathetic. So you need to have mechanisms for validation.
Can we rely on the online sources?
Not necessarily, no. I'll be very, very careful because there'll be, Chandu and I will be sitting and operating, have you seen the bot factories in China? Okay, you've seen one lady operating 1,000-odd phones, right? So more than 70% of traffic for your celebrities are all bots. Okay, so if that's the case, the questionnaire that you get filled in is going to be nonsense. So what you need to do is go to curated data sets, work with those kinds of people. There are people who have already got established panels. For example, in medical, there are people with doctors who are curated. The cost then of data collection becomes higher. So you have to go to curated lists. So for example, take FB. When Indus Valley first started, we didn't operate, we operated in 8 or 10 cities alone. In that, we operated only in specific pin codes. Okay. Then we looked at FB and said, who are those people in those pin codes? How do we reach them? So while we used FB for all the initial collection of the database, we used Instagram for more the promotion and awareness creation, because Instagram is more friendly when it comes to cooking related stuff. So you need to know which platform, which thing to use for what reason. If you don't understand that, then it is a fellow who's saying, I want to have lime tea, and puts it in milk.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, like the people who are, good morning, sir. So you have just talked about the research paper, right? The people who are just doing the research paper from the scratch are seen as ordinary. But the people using the AI tools and doing the research paper are seen as extraordinary. So how can we tackle it?
No, you have to give some more details. In the sense, how are they using AI?
Like from the scratch itself, some people will be using the AI tools.
See,
right?
I'll tell you, see, there is, what is that, I forget suddenly, that plagiarism tool. What is that, anti-plagiarism? Turnitin, okay. Now today I like Turnitin. There is also, I'm a person who uses a lot of AI to do my research. I have also tested it to see whether it can write. Okay, so it does write. But after using it for the last 1.5 to 2 years, I find I can predict what looks like an AI paper versus what looks like a Chandunai written paper. Okay, because the AI paper speaks like like a robo. He cannot. That AI cannot give me many times very. What should I call? The predictability of the response is very apparent. So today people are also integrating, like in Turnitin and other tools, they are integrating what could be an AI paper. Number two, today people are immediately if you are using AI, you need to mention it. And if you don't mention it, you can be thrown out from that institute, or you can be removed from that publication altogether. So you need to show why you are using it, number one. Number two, if you really want to become known in a space, AI can only give you synthetic data. Okay, There is something called synthetic data and there is something called original data. If you have a lot of original data, then sometimes you can use synthetic data just to test some hypothesis. Okay, but you have to be careful how you use that synthetic data. But you can use it if you have what is called a very large data set with you. In India, most of us don't have a large data set. We think 300 is large. 300 is nothing. Okay, nothing at all. With that, if you start using synthetic data, you are in trouble. So I would be very careful before I jump into giving a very definitive answer. I don't think anybody who's using AI, they will get ahead very fast for very long.
But you also stated there are universities like Savita. Like, what if they approve that paper?
They are approving it. That's why Dr. Sharma said that India has got among the highest retractions. It is getting, after 2 years, it's getting removed from that well-known publication. Then there is a reputational loss for that faculty. So you can enjoy today, but tomorrow you might not have a good time.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Welcome back to our DG Vaishnav College.
Thank you.
My question is, in between the session you have told us, I don't care about what you have, but I want to know about what you will do with what you have. By this statement, what you are conveying, sir?
See, if I speak to you one-on-one, I will explain to you what it means. By giving, I usually use examples of food, movies, sports, and of course, the human relationship to explain many of these things. So if I am a person, like you say, I am a BCom, and you're coming for an accountant job, the BCom is a certificate or degree that you have. But my job means that can you, for example, put a proper voucher entry? For example, can you finally take it up to the trial balance level? That is what you can do with that degree. Just having a degree is what you have. But that's just a paper. How you can translate that paper into something useful for me is what I'm interested in. Otherwise, that paper by itself means nothing.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah.
Sir, I have an idea. If I have an idea for opening up a business, hello? I am working on it, but my competitor has already introduced it. But I have done time. So how do I maintain my uniqueness? Because so many competitors are already launched it. So I have worked so much. So how do I maintain in that market?
Was Asian Paints the first paint company when it started? No. Procter & Gamble actually has a very simple philosophy. It will never enter a business new. It will allow Unilever to do the introduction, etc. But it will become the best imitator and then it will be the best improver. So whatever product was created, it will take that and it will say, how can I make it different, better, etc. It doesn't matter if a fellow has started it in one way. You can always have your own way of doing something. Do you not have your, where are you staying? Saukarpet or somewhere?
Ambattur.
Ambattur, okay. Now why do people still go to Kakada Ram Prasad to have pani puri or to novelty sandwich to have a sandwich? Everybody is making sandwich with 2 slices of bread, no? Why do people go to some specific place to have a samosa or sandwich, etc.? It's been there for so many years, no?
Taste.
Taste, but why the taste comes?
There is identity.
So why do you go to Krishna Sweets to have Mysore Pak? Mysore Pak is there for so many years, no? So what it means is, even if an old idea, if you can bring one Zara Hatke kind of a flavor to it, you bring in a different user segment. Like I told you, Indus Valley, cookware is old. But bringing cast iron cookware to young 22 to 38-year-old ladies was new. Selling it online was new. Why did those young ladies want it? Because though their mothers were not using it, young ladies today want healthy alternatives, whether it is in ingredients, whether it is in implements, whether it is in other kinds of things. So they saw cast iron as better than Teflon, PTFE, which was carcinogenic. But in order to sell to these 22 to 38-year-olds, for example, when we first sold the cast iron cookware, we got many of them returned back. Why? Because the ladies did not know that for 2 weeks you have to put oil and season the cast iron cookware. So what did we have to do? We said, instead of teaching them, we will season it and give it to them. Okay, but then we will also show them how you can make things for your child, for yourself, for your husband, for everybody else. What items you can make better with the kudi paniyaram, with the cast iron, dosa tawa, cast iron, some other thing. We showed them how they can use it. Then they started using more and more often. So it is not just the product, like I said, what you have. It is what you do with what you have and what it means for me.
Thank you, sir.
Good
Yes.
morning, sir.
Morning.
A lot of people have an ambition to become an entrepreneur, but it is not certain that each and every one attain it. So what is the one thing that makes a person successful in entrepreneurship, and what is the one thing which causes his downfall?
One thing I've already mentioned is discipline. You have to show up every day. Showing up every day is 90% of success in my view, okay? I mean, apart, you cannot have a stupid idea, but showing up every day is very important. That is the first thing. What is the downfall is usually this arrogance on I know it all and an unwillingness to learn, okay? That is and learn and change, both. That's why I put that Alvin Toffler thing. So one, I think showing up every day, that discipline, etc., that's the most important. Similarly, arrogance and unwillingness to learn and change.
Last question, Mr. Chandanayar. KPN, Kovai Padamudir Nilayam. Just small beginning, 400 crores or so. How is it possible, Chandanayar?
See, I'll tell you, if you look at any of these businesses, whether it is, like I mentioned about ID Batter, Mustafa, if you look at Mustafa's background, Mustafa said he comes from his father was a coolie. He's head load worker in North Kerala. He and his two brothers virtually went without breakfast most of the days. If they got 2 meals a day, they were lucky. Somehow he finished engineering, went to IIM Bangalore, etc. with great difficulty. So one of his passions was, how do I give a healthy, nutritious breakfast to Indians, an Indian breakfast? And in his view, a steamed idli is the most nutritious breakfast. But then he found that the batter most of the people were packaging and selling, apart from locally made batter, was full of soda. And he said, I will not sell it because they wanted to extend shelf life. He said, even if my shelf life reduces to 2 days, I will still sell it. I will make sure I improve my supply chain so that they get fresh batter every second day. So in Chennai, when he introduced it after being in Bangalore, first few months he had a hell of a problem because sales were not bad, were terrible. So he had to return it. So coming back, even if you take fruits and vegetables, the problem in fruits and vegetables, inconsistent quality. Inconsistent quality for the buyer, okay? Inconsistent quality, number one. And not a full range of products of fruits and vegetables. And number three, this pricing was also very tricky. People were having to bargain. If you go to the local vendor, you might get it at 70 rupees, I may get it at 170 rupees. So there was no predictability for pricing or the same uniformity of pricing. So if you take Kovai Padamudir, what they did was they brought standardization across the board. They brought a supply chain efficiency. They reduced the problems even for the farmer, because lot of people don't realize that the farmer also has a problem. They also started growing fruits and vegetables of some things themselves. So I think what they managed to crack was a scalable model. So anyway, so I hope there are no more questions and all is well. So thank you again everyone for having me here, and
Thank you, sir, for that enlightening and thought-provoking session. As we come towards the conclusion of this inaugural session, it's time to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who has contributed to the success of this national colloquium. I now invite a constant source of support and encouragement of our department, Dr. J. Satish, sir, to present the vote of thanks.
So good morning everyone. So I take this opportunity in proposing the vote of thanks. So first of all, I would like to thank on behalf of Postgraduate and Research Department of Commerce, the management, our secretary and treasurer, and also our principal, Dr. S. Santosh Babu sir, so who has given the permission and the funding to conduct this two-day colloquium, national colloquium. And I thank our guest today, Mr. Chandu Nair sir, for having accepted our invitation and to be here with us for the past 2 hours and spending his valuable time and sharing his knowledge about the research, the problems in research, and how to overcome and how the research should be, and for his interaction with the students. So we thank you very much, sir, for your presence here today morning. Thank you. And my sincere thanks to our head of the department and my teacher, Dr. S. Sheshadrinathan sir, and the organizing secretaries for this today's program. Dr. Haridayal Sharma is the convener of this two-day national colloquium, and other organizing secretaries of our department, Rajesh sir, Hema Malini and Vijay Narayanan, and seminar advisor, Dr. B. Vijay Kumar, and all the other faculty members who have been involved to conduct this national program, national colloquium for more than 2 months. From December, they are planning for execution of this program. How much pain that they have taken, so I have seen on daily basis. And I thank all the faculty members of other departments and the research scholars and students of our department and the students of other colleges who have come here to participate in this 2 days national colloquium and make this inaugural session a success. Thank you once again. Thank you all.
Small announcement. Those who are registered, go outside, have a cup of tea, come in 5 minutes time. Next session is going to start in 5 minutes. Our students, stay back. You don't have an alternative. You cannot go out of the auditorium before 5:30 in the evening. Full day you have to be present. So many days I have told you, if you want to go for restroom, come and go and come.